Maybe you're in that season right now where it feels like your whole life fell apart at the same time. The relationship ended. The job you counted on? Gone. That career door you were banking on? Slammed shut. Your business tanked, your mental health is barely holding on, your family's at your throat, student loans are suffocating you, medical bills keep stacking, and you look around at the wreckage and think, this is not the person I thought I'd be by now. How did I end up here? You scroll Instagram, you see everyone else winning, getting engaged, buying houses, traveling, thriving, and you're sitting in your apartment at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling, wondering if you'll ever get back up. And the hardest part, the part that keeps you up at night, is this question you've been too afraid to ask out loud. God, if you're really good, if you're really in control, why didn't you stop this? Why did you let everything crash at once? Why did you let my life get this messy? Maybe you prayed, maybe you fasted, maybe you tried to hold it together with duct tape and Bible verses, but it all collapsed anyway. And now you're stuck between two terrible conclusions. Either God doesn't care, or you messed up so bad he's done with you. But what if neither of those is true? What if I told you that God didn't let everything fall apart to embarrass you, punish you, or throw you away? What if God let it collapse to rescue you? What if he let the building fall to save the person inside? Because here's the truth you might not be ready to hear yet. Sometimes God lets what is fake collapse so he can raise up what's real. He lets what was built on sand fall apart so he can rebuild you for real this time, on the rock.
That relationship, that job, that dream, that version of yourself you were so proud of, it might have looked good on the outside, but God saw the foundation, and he loved you too much to let you keep building a life that was never going to last. You know what's wild? It never feels like just one thing. It's the layoff and the breakup. It's the business failing and your anxiety spiking. It's the family drama and the eviction notice and the doctor's appointment with bad news, all in the same month. And you're standing there like, God, what is happening right now? Did you just decide to wreck my life all at once? But here's what you didn't see. God didn't just show up one day and flip the table. He was there. He was speaking. He was warning you. You just didn't want to hear it. That relationship, the red flags were there. You saw them. You prayed about them, but you ignored them because you were terrified of being alone. That job, you knew it was draining your soul, but you stayed because the paycheck was good and you didn't know who you'd be without that title on your LinkedIn. That lifestyle, you were hustling yourself into the ground, performing for people who don't even know your middle name, building a brand that looked flawless online while you were falling apart offline. And God kept nudging. He kept showing you, this isn't it. This isn't the foundation I built you for. But you didn't listen, because we don't, do we? We're so scared of losing what we have that we don't realize what we have is killing us. So God, in his mercy, starts shaking the foundations, and it feels like chaos. It feels like everything's out of control, but it's not chaos, it's exposure. Jesus told a story about two houses.
One was built on rock, one was built on sand. And when the storm came, it didn't matter how nice the house looked. It didn't matter how much you paid for the paint job or how many people liked the photos. What mattered was the foundation. The storm exposed what was real. And that's what God is doing in your life right now. He's not shaking your life to destroy you. He's shaking your life to show you what you were really standing on. Your identity? It was in your relationship status. Your worth, it was tied to your salary, your followers, your performance. Your security, it was built on control, independence, the illusion that if you just hustled hard enough, you'd never need God that much. And God's saying, before I raise you up for real, you need to see what you were really standing on, because I'm not rebuilding on sand, not this time. The real issue was never just the breakup, the job loss, or the rejection. The issue was the ground you were building on. God is not your enemy. He's the enemy of the foundations that were going to destroy you. And before he raises you up, he shows you what you were really standing on, so you never build there again. Let me ask you something, and I need you to be honest. What's the one thing you begged God not to touch? That person you thought you'd marry, that job you thought was your purpose, that version of your life you spent years curating, the one that finally looked like success, the one that made people say, "Wow, you're doing so well." And then God touched it, and it fell. And you're standing there broken, asking, "God, why? Why did you let go of the one thing I asked you to hold together?" Here's why. Because it wasn't just a thing. It was your God. You didn't mean for it to be. You'd never say it out loud. But somewhere along the way, that relationship became the thing you thought about more than Jesus. That dream job became the place you found your identity. That lifestyle, that image, that paycheck, that person, it took a seat in your heart that was never meant for them. And God, because he loves you, said, "No. I'm not sharing this space, not because I'm jealous in a petty way, but because I know what happens when you worship anything other than me. It destroys you." Think about Abraham. God asked him to sacrifice Isaac, the son he waited decades for, the son tied to every promise God ever gave him, and Abraham raised the knife. Not because God wanted Isaac dead, but because God needed to know, "Abraham, who's really first in your heart, me or the gift I gave you?" God wasn't being cruel. He was setting Abraham free from the subtle idolatry of loving the blessing more than the blesser. Or the rich young ruler. He walks up to Jesus, does everything right, follows all the rules, and Jesus says, "One thing you lack. Go, sell everything and follow me." And the guy walks away sad. Why? Because his wealth wasn't just his bank account, it was his God. It was the thing he trusted more than Jesus. And Jesus let him walk, because Jesus doesn't force himself into a heart that's already full. So let me ask you again, what collapsed in your life? Was it the relationship that you thought would complete you? The one you prayed for but also worshipped? The one where you said, "I can't live without them," and actually meant it? Was it the career, the hustle, the dream that became your whole identity? The thing you checked obsessively, the thing you sacrificed your peace for, the thing that made you feel like somebody? Was it the image, the version of yourself you built for Instagram, TikTok, the group chat, the aesthetic life that looked perfect but required you to hide everything real? What collapsed in your life might have been the thing that quietly replaced God in your heart. And I know it hurts. I know it feels like you lost everything. But listen to me. God didn't remove that person, that dream, that season to leave you empty. He did it so he could have you back. When God tears down an idol, it's painful. But it's not punishment. It's freedom. Because as long as that thing was on the throne, you were never going to be free. You were going to keep sacrificing yourself, your peace, your sanity to keep it alive. And God said, "I love you too much to watch you do that." So he let it fall, not to hurt you, but to free you. Let's talk about what you're really feeling right now. Shame, guilt, embarrassment, like everyone's watching you fail, like you're a walking cautionary tale, like you had this strong Christian image and now it's in pieces, and people are whispering, "I thought they had it together." And the worst part? You're disappointed in yourself. You thought you were further along. You thought you were stronger. You thought you'd never end up here, broke, single, anxious, confused, on the verge of giving up.
And underneath all of that, there's this terrifying question. Did I ruin God's plan for my life? Did I mess up so bad that he's done with me now? Let me tell you something, and I need you to hear this. The collapse of your life as you knew it was not God throwing you away. It was God refusing to let you keep driving toward a cliff. He allowed an ending to prevent a bigger death later. You know the story of the prodigal son, right? Kid takes his inheritance, runs off, blows it all, ends up broke, hungry, feeding pigs, wishing he could eat what the pigs are eating. Rock bottom. And that's where the story shifts, because rock bottom wasn't the end. It was the turning point. It was the moment he came to his senses and said, I need to go home. The father didn't reject him. The father ran to him, threw a robe on him, put a ring on his finger, threw a party. Because the collapse wasn't the end of the prodigal story. It was the rescue. Or Job loses everything: wealth, health, family, reputation, sits in ashes, scraping sores, questioning God. And his friends tell him, you must have sinned. God's punishing you. But that's not what was happening. Job meets God in the middle of the mess. And at the end, he's not just restored. He encounters God in a way he never did before. And he says, I had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. The collapse brought him closer to God than success ever did. So here's what I need you to understand. This wasn't God crushing you. It was God catching you. You were headed somewhere that looked good, but would have destroyed you. And God said, not on my watch.
That relationship, if it had worked out, you would have married your idol and spent the rest of your life trying to turn a human into God, and it would have broken both of you. That job, if you'd stayed, you would have sacrificed your soul for a salary and a title that meant nothing in eternity. That version of your life, if it had kept going, you would have ended up successful, admired, and completely empty. God didn't let it fall apart because he was done with you. He let it fall apart because he wasn't done with you. Rock bottom wasn't the end. It was the place where you finally stopped running and looked up. God is not afraid of the mess. He steps into the ruins to bring you out. And if you're sitting in the rubble right now, broken and ashamed, let me tell you, this is not where your story ends. This is where it finally begins for real. Okay, real talk. You're impatient, aren't you? You want your life back. You want closure. You want the next relationship, the new job, the rebound success. You want to not feel broken anymore. You want to wake up and have it all make sense again. And every day that passes where nothing changes, where you're still stuck in this in-between, still single, still unemployed, still anxious, still healing, it feels like you're being left behind. You scroll social media and see people getting engaged, getting promotions, getting breakthroughs, and you're like, God, I repented, I surrendered, I'm doing the work. Why is it taking so long? Haven't I suffered enough? Here's what you need to understand. God is not just interested in rebuilding your circumstances, He's rebuilding your character. He's not only restoring what you lost, He's transforming who you are.
Because if God gave you everything back right now, same mindset, same wounds, same habits, same idols, you'd just repeat the same cycle. You'd build the same house on the same sand and it would fall again. So God's doing something deeper. He's not just repainting the walls of your life, He's rebuilding the structure. Think about Peter, big, bold Peter, the one who said, even if everyone else abandons you, I never will. And then Jesus gets arrested and Peter denies him 3 times, curses, swears he doesn't even know him. And Peter breaks. He weeps bitterly. He goes back to fishing, like, I blew it, I'm done. But Jesus doesn't leave him there. After the resurrection, Jesus finds Peter and restores him, not with shame, with love. Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. Jesus didn't just forgive Peter, He rebuilt him. He turned a denier into a preacher, a coward into a martyr, a man who ran into a man who stood. That's what God's doing in you right now. He's not just patching up the cracks, He's rebuilding the foundation of who you are. And that takes time. It's not a microwave miracle. It's a slow, painful, beautiful process of transformation. You want the quick fix, the rebound, the shortcut. But God's saying, no, not this time. This time, we're doing it right. Real restoration is not God giving you back everything you lost. It's God making you into someone different, someone who doesn't need what you lost to feel whole. You're not behind schedule. You're under construction. And construction is messy, it's loud, it's uncomfortable. There's debris everywhere. But when it's done, it's solid, it's real, it lasts. So stop rushing the process. Stop looking for rebound relationships, shady money, fake spiritual shortcuts. God's rebuilding you from the inside out. And if you let Him finish the work, you won't just survive this season. You'll emerge from it stronger, wiser, more rooted in Him than you've ever been. Trust the builder. He knows what He's doing. Let's talk about what you're afraid of. You're afraid it's going to happen again. You're afraid you'll trust again, build again, hope again, and it'll all collapse again. You're afraid you'll mess it up, make the same mistakes, end up right back where you started. You're afraid to believe that God really has something new for you. Because what if you're wrong? What if this is it? What if you already had your shot and you blew it and now you're just stuck? I get it. The collapse left scars, and scars make you cautious. They make you question everything. But here's what you need to understand. Being raised up for real doesn't mean you get a perfect, storm-free life. It means you get a life built on a foundation that can survive the storm. Being raised up for real isn't about the platform, it's about the depth. Think about Joseph. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown in prison for years, forgotten, abandoned, left to rot. And then God raises him up, all the way to second in command of Egypt. Power, influence, authority. But here's the thing. When Joseph's brothers show up years later, terrified that he's going to destroy them, Joseph doesn't take revenge. He says, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." That's a man who was raised up for real, not because he got the platform, but because the process healed him, humbled him, and anchored him in God. Or Ruth. Her story falls apart. Her husband dies, she's left a widow in a foreign land with no money, no future, no options, and she could have gone back home, bitter and broken.
But she didn't. She stayed, she worked, she trusted, and God raised her up into a new story. A story connected to King David, connected to Jesus himself. That's what being raised up for real looks like. It's not flashy, it's faithful. So how do you know if God's raising you up for real and not just rebuilding the same old thing? Here's how. You care less about image and more about integrity. You're not obsessed with who's watching. You're focused on who you're becoming. You say, "I need God," more than you say, "I got this." You're done pretending you have it all together. You need Him every single day, and you're not ashamed of that anymore. You're more obedient, less emotional. You're not chasing vibes and feelings. You're following God even when it's not exciting, even when no one's clapping. You've learned to set boundaries. You've learned to say no. You've learned that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's stewardship. You stop trying to force doors open. You trust God's timing more than your hustle. That's what being raised up for real looks like. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the mess, in the waiting, in the obedience nobody sees. Being raised up for real doesn't mean going viral. It means staying faithful. The real evidence that God raised you up is not your platform, it's your character. This time, God doesn't just want to get you off the floor. He wants to teach you how to walk with Him, step by step, day by day, for the rest of your life. And that's worth the wait. Listen to me, this is not where your story ends. This collapse, this rubble, this mess you're sitting in right now, this is not the final chapter. This is the chapter where God refused to let you keep building your dream on something that could never hold you.
Let me walk you back through what just happened. You were building on the wrong foundation. Identity in people, security in money, worth in performance. And it looked good for a while. It looked like you had it all together. But God saw the cracks. And instead of letting you keep building higher and higher on sand, He let it collapse. And it hurt. It still hurts. Because that collapse exposed your idols, the things you loved more than Him, the things you trusted more than Him, the things you thought you couldn't live without. And you felt destroyed. You felt abandoned. You felt like God was punishing you, like you'd ruined everything, like you'd never recover. But that wasn't destruction, that was rescue. God stepped into the ruins. He didn't leave you there. He started rebuilding you from the inside out, healing the wounds, reshaping the identity, reordering the priorities. And now He's raising you up, not like before, for real this time, on the rock, in truth, with depth. What fell apart doesn't get to define you, Jesus does. God didn't let everything collapse to make fun of you. He did it to free you from living a lie. You're not being thrown away. You're being restarted. This isn't destruction. This is reconstruction. And when God's done, you won't just be standing. You'll be unshakable. Right now, maybe all you see is rubble, broken plans, broken relationships, a broken you. And it hurts. I'm not going to tell you it doesn't. But in God's hands, this collapse can be the greatest act of love you've ever experienced. He let fall what could not stand so He could build what will. If you let Him, if you stop clinging to the ruins, stop trying to rebuild it yourself, stop running back to what God already removed, He won't just patch up the cracks, He'll rebuild the foundation. He won't just give you things back.
He'll bring you back to Him. So here's what I'm asking you to do today. Hand over the ruins, the memories you're holding on to, the person you're still texting, the bitterness you're nursing, the plans you're still trying to force. Let it go. Stop looking for rebound solutions. The rebound relationship that's just a distraction, the shady money, the fake spiritual shortcuts. None of that is the way forward. Step into real restoration. Return to God in prayer and in His Word, not because it's trendy, but because it's life. Plug into a solid local church or small group. Confess your sin to people you trust. Get counseling, get therapy if you need it. God can use that too. Make a decision right now. I'm not going to sabotage the reconstruction. I'm going to walk through it with God. Let me pray with you. God, I admit it. My life has fallen apart, and I don't know how to fix it. I've tried. I've hustled. I've prayed desperate prayers, and I'm still here, in the mess. I confess that I built a lot of things on the wrong foundation. I put my identity in people, my security in success, my worth in what I could do, what I could show, what I could prove. I made idols out of good things, and I'm sorry. Forgive me for putting other things in the place that belongs only to you. Today, I lay these ruins at your feet. I surrender my control, my timeline, my way of rebuilding. I stop clinging to what you already removed. I stop forcing doors you already closed. Rebuild me from the inside out. Change my heart, my character, my habits, my priorities. Make me into someone who doesn't need what I lost to feel whole. Raise me up again, but not like before. Raise me up for real, on Jesus, the solid rock.
Raise me up with depth, with integrity, with a faith that can't be shaken. I trust you. Even when I don't understand, even when it hurts, I trust you. In Jesus' name, amen. If this message spoke to your spirit today, if you felt God moving in this word, I want you to do something. Type this boldly in the comments. Not destruction, reconstruction. Declare it. Own it. Let it be your mantra for this season, because that's what God is doing in your life right now. He's not destroying you. He's reconstructing you. And if this word helped you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss what God's going to say next. You're not alone in this. God's got you, and He's not done with you yet.